Holy cow, ladies and gentlemen, buckle up because what just detonated inside New York City, this is way bigger than a scandal, bigger than corruption, and bigger than politics. Tonight, what we're talking about is whistleblowers. We're talking about federal whistleblowers who now have come forward with evidence that a full-blown cartel pipeline has been running straight through New York City's migrant system, right into the halls of city government itself. So yes, you heard this correctly, guys. And within minutes of those leaks hitting Washington, President Donald J. Trump, he ordered the most aggressive federal response that New York has seen in decades. Agents mobilized, warrants activated, entire department seized, and New York City, America's largest sanctuary fortress, just found itself staring down a federal storm that it never believed would actually come. But the most shocking part here, this pipeline didn't build itself. It grew inside of this political ecosystem that Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani helped to engineer an ecosystem of sanctuary resistance, migrant hotel contracts, no-bid vendors, and back-channel deals that whistleblowers are saying they were perfectly designed for cartel exploitation. And when the catch and bust memos leaked, everything collapsed. City Hall panicked, agencies froze. Trump didn't negotiate, he moved in. So tonight, we're gonna walk you through exactly what they just uncovered, why NYC is now effectively under federal supervision, and why this movement in New York may become the turning point of the entire American immigration crisis. Guys, stay locked in. This one is massive. Hit the like button and subscribe. Now, guys, here's where everything truly explodes, because this federal storm over New York City didn't start with politics, and it didn't start with Mamdani's reckless sanctuary declarations. It started with the whistleblowers. You had real federal agents inside DHS and Border Patrol who finally said, enough. The American people need to know what's happening. According to the leaks, cartel networks, they weren't just slipping migrants through the border. They were manipulating NYC's entire migrant intake system from the inside. City contractors, third-party NGOs, even administrative staff unknowingly became part of this massive pipeline that was designed to move people, move the money, and also influence straight into the cartel hands. Now, these agents, they handed over names and contracts and digital trails, pretty much everything. And then when those documents hit the Oval Office, President Trump, he made the call instantly. Deploy, move, take control. Now, this wasn't politics. This was national security. And if the whistleblower leak was the fuse, Zoran Mamdani, he was the gasoline poured all over this thing. Now, this man, not even sworn in yet, looked into the camera and told millions of illegal migrants exactly how to avoid ICE, exact steps, exact locations, exact signals to evade federal law. Now, this wasn't activism. This wasn't compassion. Federal officials saw it for what it was: obstruction of federal immigration enforcement. The moment that clip surfaced inside the Department of Justice, everything changed. Trump's legal team invoked emergency authority under the Supremacy Clause, making it clear that no city, no mayor, no activist, no sanctuary government has the right to undermine federal law. Inside Washington, the interpretation was unanimous. Mamdani had already crossed a line that not even previous sanctuary officials dared to cross. And that line right there triggered the federal takeover machinery. And all right, so if the whistleblowers exposed the pipeline, then what federal auditors discovered next, this is what blew the entire operation wide open. Because buried inside New York City's massive migrant hotel program, this billion-dollar sanctuary machine that Mamdani and his allies bragged about for months, were shell corporations, shell companies, no-bid vendors, and third-party contractors tied directly to cartel intermediaries. Auditors found overbilling schemes, invoices tripled overnight, transportation contracts that never delivered a single migrant, and security consultants who somehow shared bank traces with entities operating out of Sonola and Michoacan. Now, here's the part no one in City Hall can explain. Some of these companies, they were approved in less than 48 hours. No background checks, no vetting, no oversight. Federal agents now believe that the hotel network wasn't just mismanaged. It was engineered into the perfect laundering and logistics corridor for transnational criminal groups. And speaking of real protection, I want to take a moment and highlight an incredible message from one of our viewers. So Cindy Jackson said, "Thank you for all of your information. I appreciate hearing about the latest developments in Social Security. Also found that chapter is as helpful as you said. I'm pretty knowledgeable about insurance, but I had a wonderful conversation with a chapter representative recently. She made me more confident the choice I was leaning toward and made me feel better that I wasn't missing anything in the fine print of the insurance company." Well, Cindy, I just want to say thank you. It really means a lot to hear stories like this one, especially coming from someone who already understands the insurance landscape. Your experience right here, this really kind of captures exactly why I recommend chapters so strongly. So appreciate you. But nothing, and I mean nothing, sent shockwaves through Washington like this catch and bust bus memo. Okay, so these leaked internal directives revealed the quiet program that Border Patrol agents had been ordered to follow for years. Detain migrants briefly, release them, and bust them straight into blue city sanctuaries without detection, without vetting, and without tracking. Whistleblowers said cartels knew the system better than the agents did. They exploited it, coordinated it, and they funneled people into NYC because they understood one thing. New York would take everyone and ask nothing. When Trump saw the memos, that was it. The compassionate sounding processing system that the media praised for years, this was exposed as a national security catastrophe. This was a built-in delivery system that cartels use to overwhelm, embed, and expand. This is what triggered phase one of the federal takeover. And so, ladies and gentlemen, once the whistleblower floodgates opened and those catch and bust memos hit the Resolute desk, President Trump, he didn't hesitate for a single second. He activated emergency federal authority and ordered the creation of a first-of-its-kind joint task force, an unprecedented fusion of HSI, FBI, DOJ prosecutors, U.S. Marshals, and federal financial crimes units. Now, this wasn't symbolic. This was operational. The mission was clear. Dismantle the cartel network inside NYC's migrant system, freeze the fraudulent contracts, intercept the cartel money flow, and reassert federal supremacy in a city that's openly resisting federal law. Within hours, the task force established command in Manhattan, and within days, subpoenas were flying. I mean, within a week, President Trump signaled that if New York City wouldn't enforce the law, the federal government would enforce it for them. Mondani never saw this coming. And this is the moment everything broke loose inside New York City. At dawn, multiple federal teams executed synchronized raids across New York City, not just some symbolic drop-ins. I'm talking full-scale, multi-agency federal operations. Agents hit city administrative offices that are tied to migrant processing. They hit the major migrant hotels suspected of cartel-linked contracts, NGO facilities believed to be laundering money through humanitarian groups. Warrants were served, servers were seized, entire rooms were locked down as evidence preservation zones. And then some city partners were escorted out in handcuffs. Others were questioned for hours. But the most shocking part, several facilities were placed under temporary federal control, meaning NYC officials couldn't enter without federal approval. Now, for the first time in modern history, New York City, the sanctuary capital of America, was operating under conditions that looked a whole lot like a partial federal receivership. And Mondani, he went silent. Now, guys, if federal raids were the earthquake, Mondani's panic was the aftershock that tore City Hall apart. So the moment agents walked into those buildings with federal warrants, internal memos and encrypted chat logs later leaked to the press. They showed pure, unfiltered chaos erupting inside Mondani's circle. Staffers were demanding legal cover. Advisors insisted that he distance himself immediately. One aide begged him to stop posting activist videos because they were creating criminal exposure. Even longtime political allies began backing away from him. Several city council members privately warned him that the federal government was not playing games and that he had gone far beyond the normal sanctuary city theatrics that New Yorkers had gotten used to. Emergency meetings were called, phones were confiscated, and Mondani, once bold enough to challenge the federal law on camera, suddenly he went dark, avoiding questions from reporters, from staff, and even from some of his own donors. City Hall had realized the truth. This wasn't symbolic. This was a federal storm with legal teeth. Then came the final humiliation, the formal deconstruction of New York City's entire migrant management system right in front of the American people. So after reviewing tens of thousands of documents seized by the raids, federal investigators announced what many suspected but no one had proven at this scale. NYC's sanctuary system collapsed under its own corruption. The Trump administration laid out the findings: cartel infiltration and procurement channels, unchecked NGO spending with zero financial accountability, fraudulent hotel contracts approved in days without vetting, sanctuary policies that shielded criminal networks from federal detection. Every pillar of the system that Mondani praised as humane and revolutionary, this was exposed and structurally unsound, financially reckless, and strategically dangerous. New York's messaging fractured instantly. Their excuses couldn't survive federal data, and the national narrative shifted overnight. Sanctuary governance hadn't just failed, it had endangered the entire country. Now, guys, if you thought that the corruption ended with bad contracts and vetted NGOs, stick with me, guys, because the money trail here, the cartel cash trail, this is where this entire scandal turns from negligence into something that was way more deliberate. So federal financial crimes units traced payments that were moving from cartel-associated entities in Mexico to Central America into U.S. shell companies, and then directly into vendors that were approved by New York City in order to run these migrant hotels, transportation routes, and community programs. Now, This pattern here, this was unmistakable. Cartels were using NYC's sanctuary loopholes as a laundering and logistics superhighway. There was no federal cooperation, there was no city oversight, there was no questions asked. And in some cases, the individuals themselves listed on cartel intel sheets appeared as consultants or regional coordinators for city-funded organizations. This wasn't accidental infiltration. It was exploitation of a system designed with zero guardrails. This is exactly why Trump's task force moved with such force. Now, here's where everything stops being theoretical and becomes painfully, brutally real. Federal agents didn't just uncover financial corruption or bureaucratic incompetence. Federal agents uncovered public safety flashpoints that demanded immediate intervention. Crime data showed cartel-affiliated gang activity rising in neighborhoods that are surrounding the migrant hotels, drug trafficking routes intersected with NGO transport vans. Multiple migrants reported being extorted or trafficked by the same networks that city policies had empowered. This clearly was the final justification that Trump needed. So, standing at the podium, Donald Trump declared the federal government has a duty to protect American citizens when local officials refuse to. And with that right there, the takeover became official. Federal authority superseded sanctuary resistance. NYC no longer operating independently, or at least not on the matters that were tied to migrants, trafficking, or cartel infiltration. And for the first time in memory, a sanctuary city had been placed under federal correction. Now, guys, trust me when I tell you this, the fallout from New York City's collapse, this sent shockwaves across the entire country, because the moment Trump's task force took control of NYC's migrant network, other sanctuary mayors suddenly went quiet. Chicago's leadership called emergency strategy sessions. Los Angeles contacted federal liaisons seeking clarity. Portland spent years bragging about its sanctuary defiance, scrubbed multiple public statements from its website overnight. Why? Because every one of these mayors, they know something that the media refuses to admit. If it happened to New York, the crown jewel of sanctuary governance, it could happen to any of them. And federal officials confirmed it. New York City was only the beginning. The message was unmistakable. If you obstruct federal law, if you allow cartel networks to exploit your policies, if you endanger American citizens under the guise of compassion, the Trump administration is coming for you. And next time, they might not wait for whistleblowers. And finally, of course, we reached the moment that cemented this entire chaos in American history. President Donald J. Trump, he addressed the nation from the White House, and he laid out the truth with a lot of clarity that even hit critics struggling to dismiss. He explained that the constitutional framework that gave the federal government authority to intervene when the local officials obstructed federal law. He detailed the cartel infiltration, the corruption inside the migrant hotel program, the whistleblower accounts, and the public safety threats that were ignored by the city leaders. Then he delivered the line that defined the entire moment. America will not surrender its sovereignty to cartels, corrupt individuals, corrupt officials, or failed sanctuary experiments. Trump pretty much framed the battle in New York as part of a larger struggle, an American versus post-American divide that demanded courage, enforcement, and accountability. And with that, guys, the message was clear. Law and order was returned, federal authority has returned, and the era of sanctuary chaos is over.